Today I'm going to show you how to replace the wheel bearing and hub on your car. You can tell that your wheel bearing is worn when you turn it and it starts making a loud noise, especially when you're driving. You can also feel that there's a little bit of play when you wiggle the wheel in both directions back and forth. So this wheel bearing needs to be replaced. First thing we're going to do is remove the wheel. So this bearing is a bolt-on style that bolts onto the knuckle from behind, so we're going to need to remove the rotor and caliper and bracket to get to it. I'm going to start by removing these 14mm bolts. That bolt, and then we can pull off this caliper. Next up, we're going to remove these two 14mm bolts to get the caliper bracket off. Let's break that free. Break that one free. There's one bolt, and remove the other bolt, and then I can remove the caliper bracket from the rotor. Now the rotor itself is screwed onto the hub, so we need to remove these two screws. Now without the brakes on, you can really feel how loud and noisy this bearing is, and you can also feel a lot of play when you move it side to side. A regular screwdriver is not going to work here. So I'm just going to use a punch here, and then I'm just going to come in at an angle here and tap this screw. I'll just slowly turn that screw out. And then once it's loose, I should be able to turn it out with a screwdriver. Stupid screw. Now I'm going to remove the rotor. Now in order to remove the hub from the knuckle, there's two 14mm bolts on this side and two 14mm bolts on this side, up here and down there. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen this up. And then we're going to loosen the front one here. And now for the top one here, I'm going to remove this bolt. Ouch! And I'm going to remove this bolt here. And I'll just remove this bolt from the back here. And then I'll just pull off the old hub. So here we have the old bearing compared to the new bearing that I got from Mevotech. It's the BXT bearing, which is exactly the same as the OE style bearing. Same bolt pattern and hub, as well as the bolt pattern at the back here. And it's got this area here for the ABS sensor to pick up its signal. The old bearing here spins very loosely, and there's a lot of grinding sound when I spin it. Now it's really important to keep this area around the ABS sensor in the hub and on the knuckle very clean and free from any debris. So I'm just going to use a little bit of brake cleaner here to clean up the area. You can see that there's the ABS sensor here that you want to be careful with. And make sure this area is nice and clean. And then I'll just use my brother's old pants here and wipe up this area. Make sure it's really clean and free from any debris that could catch on to that ABS sensor. Now it's important to have these surfaces clean of any lubricants, because any heat from the brake rotor itself will transfer through the knuckle and dissipate into the suspension system. And then I'll just go ahead and install the bearing into the knuckle. And now I'm going to reinsert this bolt back in and screw it in. And then finally I'm going to torque these down with a torque wrench. And the new hub is on there, nice and secure, and it rotates nice and smoothly. Next up, I'm going to replace the brake rotor. Now I'm going to reinstall the caliper bracket. Then I'm going to reinstall the caliper bracket bolt. And then I'm going to use a torque wrench to tighten up the caliper bracket bolt. Now I'm going to replace the caliper. And then I'm going to replace the caliper slide bolts. And just snug this down. Now I'm going to replace the wheel onto the hub. And that's pretty much how to install a new hub bearing on your car. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this one.